10 signs you both are truly meant to be together. Psychology tips. Real love doesn't rush in loudly, it arrives quietly and stays. Have you ever felt drawn to someone without feeling off balance? No obsession, no confusion, just a quiet sense of rightness you couldn't explain. That feeling isn't accidental. Don't ignore it. Be aware of it. Psychology tips show that the mind recognizes alignment before the heart can name it. Many men chase intensity and mistake excitement for meaning, but intensity fades when life gets real. What lasts is clarity, calm, stability. That is essential love advice most men learn too late. Real connection doesn't drain you, it steadies you. You don't feel pressured to impress or perform. You feel grounded. If reflections like this speak to you and help you see relationships more clearly, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future insights designed to guide you with honesty and depth. When two people are truly meant to be together, the relationship doesn't feel rushed or forced. It feels intentional. Conversations flow. Silence feels natural. Decisions feel clearer. Dating tips rooted in psychology remind us that emotional safety and consistency matter more than sparks. This isn't about coincidence. That is about design. And once you understand these psychology tips, guided by honest love advice and practical dating tips, you stop chasing what looks exciting and start choosing what is real. Let's begin. 1. You're drawn together again and again. That's the first sign. And it's not an accident. No matter what happens, even if life separates you by distance, misunderstanding, or timing, something always pulls you back. You don't chase it. You don't scheme. It just happens. One day, out of nowhere, a name reappears. A message arrives. A familiar laugh echoes in your mind. And suddenly, the past isn't past anymore. This is not about obsession. It's about alignment. In love psychology, recurring connection is one of the strongest indicators that two people are wired to grow together. When a bond is real, it doesn't fade quietly. It waits. It pauses. Then it resumes right where it left off. Think about it. You've both lived full lives in between. You've made mistakes. You've changed. And yet, when you meet again, the connection still fits. Maybe deeper, maybe calmer, but unmistakably familiar. Be honest with yourself. That doesn't happen with just anyone. It could be months, even years later, but somehow your paths cross again. Same city, same event, same moment when both of you are finally ready. Timing, it turns out, is not random. It's selective. This is one of those quiet psychology tips men often overlook. What returns without force is worth attention. What keeps resurfacing without pressure deserves respect. Don't rush to label it fate just yet. Observe it. When it's meant to be, it won't require force. That's critical. You don't need clever lines or constant reassurance. There's no exhausting emotional tug-of-war. Conversations flow. Silence feels safe. Disagreements don't feel like threats. That is not luck. That is compatibility. The connection finds a way, like rivers that always find the sea. Rivers don't argue with the terrain. They don't panic at obstacles. They adapt. They bend. They continue. Slowly, surely, relentlessly. In relationship goals, this kind of bond isn't loud or dramatic. It's steady. It survives distance. It survives ego. It survives time. And time is the real test. Because when two souls share a divine bond, life keeps giving them second chances to meet, heal, and grow together. Not to repeat the same mistakes, but to correct them. That's the key. Growth. A connection that returns is asking a question. Are you wiser now? Are you calmer? Are you more grounded than before? If the answer is yes, the bond deepens. If not, it waits again. This idea aligns closely with the modern Stoic mindset. You don't cling. You don't resist. You allow life to reveal what stays when everything else falls away. You can't escape destiny. You can only delay it. Men understand this better than they admit. You can ignore the signs. You can distract yourself with work, routines, or comfort. But when something keeps returning without knocking, it's not there to disrupt your life. It's there to complete a lesson. Don't confuse intensity with meaning. Don't confuse convenience with truth. Real connection is calm. It's persistent. It doesn't shout. It waits until you're ready to listen. This is why psychology tips about love often point to repetition without chaos as a marker of depth. Not fireworks. Not drama. Continuity. And here's the hard truth many men learn late: the right person doesn't demand that you become someone else. They reveal who you already are at your best. Be present when life brings someone back. Be honest about why they returned. Be willing to grow into the man the connection requires. That is what love psychology teaches us over time. That is what real relationship goals are built on. And that is how a modern Stoic recognizes destiny, not by chasing it, but by finally standing still long enough to let it arrive. 2. Your souls recognize each other instantly. You don't recognize it with your eyes at first. You recognize it with your nervous system. That's where the first sign lives. Not logic, not strategy, recognition. You meet her and something unusual happens. Your body relaxes instead of tightening. Your mind slows instead of racing. You don't feel the urge to impress, perform, or sell a version of yourself. You simply are. And that is rare. This is the moment seasoned men notice immediately, especially men who have lived, lost, rebuilt, and refined themselves. An old Stoic would tell you this: excitement is loud, but truth is quiet. And Stoicism teaches that what is meant for you does not disturb your inner order, it restores it. Think about modern life for a moment. Dating is noisy. Everyone is rushing. Everyone is performing. Everyone is marketing. So when you encounter someone who brings calm instead of chaos, your instincts wake up. Your system says, pay attention. This isn't chemistry. This is alignment. You feel understood without explaining yourself. You feel comfortable in silence. Conversation flows, but it doesn't feel forced. Time bends. An hour feels like minutes. Minutes feel like nothing at all. You don't feel younger or older. You feel centered. That's not a coincidence. That's recognition. Carl Jung once said, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Notice the word transformed. Not drained. Not confused. Transformed. This is where female psychology matters more than most men realize. A woman responds deeply to emotional safety, grounded presence, and consistency. Not theatrics. Not pressure. Not intensity for intensity's sake. When she senses a man who is calm, settled, and internally ordered, she feels it immediately. This is why the high-value man doesn't chase reactions. He creates stability. And here's the sharp truth most men miss. If your heart is at peace, you're not settling. You're selecting wisely. A man shaped by Stoicism understands that desire without peace becomes chaos, but peace with desire becomes power. That's why an old Stoic never mistakes anxiety for passion. He knows better. He's been there. He's paid the price. In modern relationships, this sign stands out even more because it's so uncommon. No push, no pull, no power games. Just a quiet sense of this fits. Like a door that opens without resistance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When the connection is right, your thoughts soften. Your inner dialogue shifts from defense to openness. You're not guarded. You're grounded. This is where men between 35 and 70 have the advantage. You're no longer seduced by noise. You recognize patterns. You respect peace. You value alignment over drama. That's the mark of a high-value man, discernment. So here is the instruction, clear and decisive. Trust calm. Observe how your body responds. Notice who brings you home to yourself instead of pulling you away from your center. Because when two souls are meant to walk together, they don't rush. They remember. They recognize. And in a world addicted to speed, the man who can identify stillness masters love, masters life, and moves forward with quiet, undeniable victory. 3. Silence between you feels peaceful, not awkward. Here's the truth men learn only after decades of living, building, losing, and rebuilding. When silence between you feels calm instead of uncomfortable, you are standing in something rare, something earned, something real. With most people, silence feels like pressure, like a test, like a gap that must be filled with noise, jokes, explanations, or reassurance. But with the right woman, silence feels steady, grounded, alive, as if nothing is missing at all. This is not romance fantasy. This is psychology. This is alignment. This is what happens when two nervous systems recognize safety in each other. When your presence alone communicates trust, respect, and mutual understanding. That's why experienced thinkers have always said, what is meant for you will never require force. True connection does not beg for attention. It does not demand constant validation. It does not drain your energy. It restores it. In modern life, where phones never stop buzzing, where conversations are shallow and attention is fragmented, peaceful silence has become one of the clearest signals you are with the right person. Silence reveals truth faster than words ever can. An old Stoic understood this long before modern psychology named it. Comfort in stillness is proof of inner order, not emotional dependence. This is where Stoicism meets love. Stoicism is not emotional distance. It is emotional control, clarity, choosing what truly matters. A high-value man knows this instinctively. He does not chase noise. He does not fear quiet moments. He knows strength shows up as calm, not performance. His silence carries confidence, not uncertainty. Female psychology confirms this again and again. Women feel safest with men who are internally settled. Men whose presence steadies the room. Men who do not rush to fill space because they trust who they are. That is when silence becomes intimacy. Because energy speaks before words ever do. And when your energy is clean, regulated, and grounded, connection flows without effort, without pressure, without confusion. Peace is not the absence of noise. It is the presence of order. And that order appears when two people can share space without tension. For men navigating relationships later in life, this is your compass. Seek the woman with whom silence feels like home. Build yourself into the man whose calm leads naturally. Mastery in life is not loud. Victory is not chaotic. And love that lasts does not shout. It settles. It stabilizes. It strengthens. When you live as an old Stoic, practice Stoicism daily, understand female psychology without trying to control it, and move through the world as a high-value man, you stop chasing connections. You recognize it instantly. Because when silence feels right, everything else follows. 4. You grow spiritually because of each other. When two people are truly meant to be together, something quiet yet powerful starts happening beneath the surface. You grow spiritually because of each other. Not through dramatic speeches, not through forced change. It happens through presence, through just enough pressure, and through shared purpose. This is what many people miss when they chase comfort instead of truth. A true soulmate doesn't come to fill a hole in your life or rescue you from loneliness. That is a myth. Be clear about that. They come to wake you up. They stir parts of you that have been asleep for years. They push you to evolve beyond old habits, old thinking, and emotional wounds you once accepted as just the way life is. This kind of love can feel intense, sometimes uncomfortable, because real love is not meant to keep you safely the same. It is meant to transform you. Don't confuse peace with stagnation. Don't confuse challenge with incompatibility. Many men walk away too early because they misunderstand this. That is one of the most overlooked psychology tips when it comes to deep connection. A woman who is truly aligned with you will naturally inspire you to respect yourself more, raise your standards, and look honestly at the fears and insecurities you've quietly carried for years. She doesn't need to point them out. Her presence does the work. At times, you may feel exposed. Don't run from that feeling. That is not a weakness. That is growth asking for your attention. You must understand this. When you are with the right person, Your wounds don't disappear overnight, but for the first time, they begin to heal because you stop running from them. This is powerful love advice many men only learn through experience. She challenges you not through constant conflict, but by being a mirror that reflects who you really are. And somehow, even after difficult conversations, even when emotions run high, you walk away stronger, clearer, and more grounded than before. That is the difference between a relationship that passes time and one that shapes your life. Most surface level dating tips never explain this. Real love doesn't make life easier right away. It makes you better over time. Be honest with yourself. Ask who you become around her. More patient, more intentional, more alive. That is your answer. Your souls don't meet just for romance or attraction, but for evolution, for becoming a man who lives with purpose instead of drifting on autopilot. That is why this connection feels different from the rest. It has depth, it has direction, it has weight. Don't resist growth just because it feels unfamiliar. Be present, be accountable, be willing to rise. When you do, love stops being just a feeling and becomes a force, guided by real psychology tips, grounded love advice, and meaningful dating tips that point you toward who you are becoming, not who you used to be. 5. You feel their energy even when they're far away. Have you ever thought about someone out of nowhere and suddenly they texted you? Or felt heavy for no reason, then found out they were struggling that day? That's not a coincidence. That's an energy connection. This is one of the clearest signs you are truly meant to be together. And it sits at the heart of love psychology. When two people are deeply aligned, something quiet but powerful happens beneath the surface. Their inner worlds start to communicate without words. No effort, no planning, just awareness. When two souls are meant to be together, their energies remain intertwined. You feel their moods, emotions, and presence, no matter the distance. Think of it like an invisible thread connecting your hearts. Not tight, not suffocating, just steady, always there. You may be in different cities, different time zones, or different phases of life. Yet, something subtle keeps you tuned in, like an old radio that still catches the same frequency after all these years. This isn't fantasy. It's grounded in psychology tips about emotional attunement and empathy. When trust is real, your nervous systems learn from each other. You start to sense shifts. Silence feels different. A laugh sounds lighter. A message arrives right when you are thinking of them. That is not magic. That is a connection refined by time and sincerity. You don't need constant contact to know they care. You simply know. That knowing matters, especially for men who value stability and depth. A modern Stoic understands this well. He doesn't chase reassurance. He doesn't demand attention every hour. He trusts patterns, not noise. He observes how calm replaces anxiety when the bond is real. Don't confuse this with dependency. Be clear about that. A true energy connection doesn't drain you. It steadies you. It makes you more focused, not distracted. You still stand on your own feet, but you walk better knowing someone is moving in rhythm with you. This is where relationship goals quietly take shape, not in grand gestures, not in constant validation, but in the ability to live your life and still feel accompanied, even in silence, even in distance. You must pay attention to how you feel when you think of them, not excited in a restless way, calm, grounded, certain. That is the signal. In love psychology, this is often described as emotional resonance. Two people responding to life with similar timing and values. When something goes wrong for them, you sense it. When something good happens, you feel lighter without knowing why. Later, the truth shows up, and it clicks. Don't ignore that pattern. Be honest with yourself. For a modern Stoic, this kind of bond is rare and valuable. It doesn't shout. It doesn't beg for attention. It endures. It aligns with long-term relationship goals built on respect, presence, and inner strength. You don't need to explain it to everyone. You don't need to prove it. You simply know. And in the world of psychology tips and practical wisdom, that quiet certainty is often the loudest truth of all. 6. You understand each other without explanation. When two people are truly meant to be together, understanding happens without negotiation, without explanation, without noise. Real connection does not live in words, it lives in awareness. As an old Stoic principle reminds us, what is meant for you will never require force. When alignment is real, effort decreases and clarity increases. Silence feels safe. A single look carries more truth than a long conversation. You recognize it when she senses your heaviness before you admit it, when you understand her emotional state without asking a single question. This is not fantasy or coincidence. This is a psychology meeting presence. This is female psychology responding naturally to emotional stability and self-mastery. This is what happens when a high-value man no longer over-explains himself to be understood. Stoicism is not emotional distance. Stoicism is an emotional command. It is knowing where you stand and not being dragged by impulse. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When your thoughts are ordered, disciplined, and intentional, that energy radiates outward. She feels your calm before she hears your voice. Stoicism teaches you to speak less but mean more, to react slower but act cleaner. That steadiness creates safety, and safety builds deep connections. In modern life, where phones constantly buzz, attention is fragmented, and people talk endlessly but rarely listen, this kind of connection is rare. When you are fully present, you don't need to perform. When you are grounded, you don't seek validation. Presence is power. Presence is attractive. An old Stoic understands that silence, used correctly, builds trust faster than excess words. When two people are on the same frequency, it isn't mystical, it's alignment in values, behavior, and emotional rhythm. Female psychology responds to consistency, not promises. A high-value man understands that words are tools, not crutches. He knows that real connection doesn't need pressure. It unfolds naturally. Burn this into your mind. When it's right, it's effortless. When it's aligned, it's calm. When it's real, it's mutual. In a world that pushes you to rush, perform, and explain yourself endlessly, the instruction is clear. Master your inner state. Live by Stoicism. Carry the calm authority of an old Stoic. When you do, the right woman won't need convincing. She will feel it. She will recognize it. And together, you move forward with clarity, confidence, and quiet victory. 7. You met at the right, but sometimes painful, time. You didn't meet her when life was calm, comfortable, or predictable. And that is the first truth you must understand if you want to recognize a bond that is truly meant to last. Real connections don't arrive when everything is easy. They arrive when you are tested, when routines break, when confidence is shaken, when the old story of who you were no longer fits. This is not coincidence. This is alignment through pressure. Pain is not a mistake here. Pain is the doorway. As Carl Jung said, "Where your fear is, there is your task." When two people meet in moments of inner strain, it is because growth is required, not comfort. You are not brought together to distract each other from unresolved wounds. You are brought together to see them clearly, face them honestly, and rise stronger because of them. This is something every old Stoic understood deeply. Life refines through resistance, not ease. Stoicism teaches that hardship is not punishment, it is preparation, and the same principle applies to love. When a relationship begins during uncertainty, emotional weight, or personal rebuilding, it often signals that both people are ready to evolve, not ready to be perfect, ready to be real. Modern life misleads men into believing that the right relationship should feel effortless from day one. That belief clouds judgment. A high-value man knows better. He knows meaning is forged, not handed out. He understands female psychology well enough to recognize that deep bonds form when emotional honesty replaces performance, when masks fall, when two people stop pretending they have it all figured out. You didn't meet her to run from your confusion. You met her to understand it. You didn't meet her to numb loneliness. You met her to confront it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The obstacle in the path becomes the path. The difficulty at the beginning is not a warning sign. It is a signal that something important is being shaped." In today's world, where relationships are disposable and attention is scattered, this kind of meeting demands discipline, clarity, and leadership. This is where Stoicism matters. This is where the old Stoic mindset separates impulse from purpose. Stay grounded, observe patterns, choose growth over reaction. A high value man does not chase comfort, he builds stability. He does not rush meaning, he earns it. When both of you are willing to face discomfort, communicate directly, and grow instead of retreat, the bond becomes a force, not fantasy. Force. Remember this: timing is not about ease, it is about readiness. The universe does not ask if it's convenient, it asks if you are prepared to become more. Master yourself, lead your life, and if you rise, the connection rises with you. 8. The relationship feels safe, even during storms. When a relationship is truly meant to last, it feels safe even when everything else feels shaky. That safety is not the absence of conflict, it is the presence of trust. True love is not a quiet lake with no wind, it is a strong ship that stays steady when the waves rise. Don't believe the myth that real love never argues. Be clear about this. Arguments are normal. Disrespect is not. You can feel irritated, worn down by life, or frustrated by misunderstandings, yet still carry a deep inner knowing that the person across from you is not an enemy. They are your person. That certainty changes everything. You may disagree strongly. You may need space to cool off. But deep down, you know this relationship is not something you need to defend yourself from. You don't walk away at the first sign of tension. You don't threaten distance or silence as a weapon. Be present, stay grounded, choose the connection even when it feels uncomfortable. That is one of the most practical psychology tips many men learn only after years of trial and error. Love that lasts is not about avoiding friction. It is about knowing how to move through it without losing respect. When the bond is right, problems stop feeling personal. They become shared challenges. You face them side by side instead of standing on opposite sides of the room. Don't turn disagreements into battles. Be curious instead of reactive. That is where real strength shows up. The foundation of lasting love is not pride or control. It is empathy. It is the ability to say, "I hear you," even when emotions are high, and I'm still here, even when things feel heavy. You must understand this if you want a relationship that feels secure rather than exhausting. This is honest love advice that matters more than surface-level dating tips. Attraction may start the relationship, but emotional safety is what keeps it alive. Dating tips often talk about excitement and chemistry, yet real depth reveals itself during hard conversations, quiet repairs, and moments when both people choose understanding over being right. Don't chase drama. Don't confuse chaos with passion. Be with someone who stays respectful under pressure, who listens when it would be easier to defend, who values the bond more than their own ego. Here is the quiet truth most psychology tips point toward. When love is genuine, storms don't pull you apart, they bring you closer. Every resolved conflict adds trust. Every honest conversation builds stability. Over time, you realize that safety does not make love boring. It makes it powerful. It creates a partnership that can handle stress, time, and change without falling apart. Remember this love advice, apply these dating tips wisely, and hold on to this truth. The right relationship does not promise a life without storms. It promises that you will never face the storm alone. 9. The world feels different when you're together. When you're truly aligned with someone, the world feels different when you're together. Not in a dramatic movie script way. In a quiet, unmistakable way. Colors seem brighter. Not because life suddenly became perfect, but because your nervous system relaxes. Your attention sharpens. Your mind stops bracing for impact. That's love psychology at work. When your brain feels safe, perception opens up. You see more. You feel more. Time feels slower. That's not romance. That's regulation. When you're with the right person, your body exits survival mode. You're no longer rushing toward the next task or defending your position. You're present, fully present. And presence stretches time. That is one of the most underrated psychology tips men can learn. Even silence feels meaningful. No need to fill the air. No pressure to perform. You can sit there, breathing, thinking, being. That's not boredom. That's comfort at a deep level. A sign your inner guard has lowered. A core pillar of real relationship goals. It's as if the universe itself smiles when you're together. That metaphor matters. Because when two people are aligned, their internal rhythms sync. Heart rate, breath, emotional pacing. This is not poetry. This is biology. Your systems cooperate instead of competing. That's what divine alignment feels like. Not loud, not chaotic. Steady, grounded, clean. Everything around you vibrates in harmony with your love. That doesn't mean life gets easy. It means life gets clearer. Animals feel calmer. Because animals read energy, not words. When two people are settled within themselves and with each other, that calm spreads outward. Songs make more sense. Lyrics land differently. Melodies hit deeper. Why? Because emotional resonance increases when you're regulated. You don't just hear sound. You receive meaning. Coincidences multiply. Not because fate suddenly woke up, but because awareness sharpens. You notice patterns. You connect dots. Your mind is no longer cluttered with noise. It's not fantasy. Don't dismiss it as imagination. It's frequency. Your combined energy changes your reality. Not mystically, practically. From a modern Stoic perspective, this matters. A modern Stoic doesn't chase chaos or drama. He values clarity, stability, inner order. And when a relationship enhances those things instead of draining them, you pay attention. Be honest with yourself. Don't force intensity where peace is missing. Don't confuse tension with connection. Don't ignore how your body feels when you're with her. You must observe the effect, not the story. How do you sleep? How do you speak? How do you handle pressure together? That is the test. Real relationship goals aren't about fireworks every night. They're about alignment that makes life feel more navigable. Love psychology shows us this again and again. The right bond simplifies your inner world. Remember this. A connection that brings harmony isn't loud. It's steady. It's grounding. It quietly upgrades your reality. And once you feel that frequency, you don't argue with it. 10. You feel grateful without knowing why. When two people are truly meant to walk the same path, the clearest signal is not obsession, not chemistry, not even the word love. It is gratitude, calm, steady, the kind you feel deep in your chest when you wake up and realize you are thankful this person exists in the world, not because they complete you, but because they align with you. That gratitude becomes the quiet proof that your values, timing, and direction are in harmony. This truth was understood by every old Stoic who knew that peace is the highest form of wealth. When her happiness naturally lifts yours and her calm steadies your mind, you are not chasing emotion. You are standing in balance. And balance is what Stoicism teaches men to recognize and protect. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, and when your thoughts turn instinctively toward appreciation instead of anxiety, control instead of fear, you are witnessing a connection that strengthens rather than drains." This is a connection built for endurance in modern life, where distractions are constant and attention is scarce. This is also where female psychology quietly reveals itself. A woman does not bond deeply with words or promises. She bonds with consistency, safety, and presence. The kind a high-value man offers without performance or pressure, simply by being grounded, decisive, emotionally steady. Gratitude in a relationship is not passive. It is active awareness. It is recognizing that distance does not weaken alignment and obstacles do not cancel intention. When two people are truly meant to be together, they do not cling. They cooperate. They do not demand. They choose. They do not merge identities. They walk side by side. Seneca captured this clearly when he wrote, "Where there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." Kindness, when paired with strength, creates loyalty that lasts decades, not moments. In today's world of instant gratification, the man who understands Stoicism knows that calm attachment outperforms emotional intensity every time. The man who understands female psychology knows that gratitude felt without explanation is often the deepest sign of trust forming. When you feel thankful for her peace, her presence, her existence, even when she is not beside you, that is not fantasy. That is alignment. And alignment is rare. A high value man does not confuse desire with destiny. He watches patterns. He measures consistency. He notices how his nervous system responds. When his body relaxes instead of braces, when his mind sharpens instead of scatters, he knows he is standing in something real, something built for the long game, something worthy of protection and leadership. Gratitude is not the reward at the end of the journey. It is the signal you are already walking the right road. Mastery in life, mastery in relationships, mastery in self, all begin the same way, by recognizing what brings peace and choosing it, again and again, without hesitation, without apology, just as the old Stoics taught, just as Stoicism demands, and just as every high-value man must learn if he intends to build a life that feels like victory. Final reflection. Love like this is not ordinary. At this stage of life, you already know the difference between passing attraction and something that steadies your breath and sharpens your purpose. Real connection doesn't create noise. It creates clarity. When two people are truly meant to walk together, life stops feeling like a constant battle and starts feeling like a disciplined march forward. Calm, focused, intentional. This kind of bond feels less like luck and more like alignment, as if timing finally stopped resisting you and began cooperating. One of the clearest psychological signs you are meant to be together is this: peace replaces confusion, growth replaces stagnation, and your energy rises instead of draining away. Carl Jung said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." Transformation is the signal. The right woman does not pull you away from your mission. She refines it. She challenges you. She strengthens your resolve. Any old Stoic would recognize this immediately. Stoicism teaches that what is truly aligned brings tranquility, not turmoil. In modern life, where distractions are constant and relationships often feel transactional, this calm is rare. And rare things are valuable. Another sign is mutual respect without negotiation. You don't need to posture, perform, or prove your worth. She sees it. You see hers. This is where female psychology becomes clear. A woman who feels safe and inspired by a man does not seek chaos. She seeks partnership and direction. A high-value man does not chase validation. He recognizes resonance. He chooses deliberately. He protects what is real. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you are with the right person, your thoughts sharpen. Your standards rise. Your future becomes vivid, not vague. That clarity is not accidental. It is alignment in motion. Conflict is another test. When you are meant to be together, conflict does not destroy the bond. It strengthens it. Disagreements become adjustments, not threats. Both of you are oriented towards solutions, not winning. This is Stoicism in action. Respond, don't react. Build, don't break. In today's world, many men feel pressure to constantly adapt, compromise, or shrink themselves. This kind of connection feels like standing on solid ground again. That is not a coincidence. That is readiness meeting readiness. Life waited until you were prepared to recognize what matters. The universe does not hand out these connections casually. It responds to inner alignment. When you have done the work, refined your values, embraced the mindset of an old Stoic, and stepped fully into the identity of a high-value man, you don't stumble into love. You walk into it with awareness. Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. The right partner reflects that decision back to you through her actions, her support, her presence. If you have met someone who calms your mind, sharpens your focus, respects your boundaries, and grows alongside you, stop questioning it. Questioning is hesitation. Hesitation dissolves momentum. Protect what is aligned. Lead with certainty. Invest with discipline and gratitude. Mastery in life includes mastery in love. And when alignment appears, you move forward grounded in Stoicism, aware of female psychology and confident in the path you are building together.